Interesting. We're going to start off with a very interesting pasuk in this week's Sedra. And then we're going to see a Rashi in this week's Sedra. And we're going to develop that Rashi a little bit into, since today I think is the last year. This is the last year for the yeah, okay, for the summer.
Tuesday is the last day of Yeshivas. Tuesday.
Okay, so let's get, we're going to learn, it's really last week's Sedra, the message, but it's going to be again a little bit in this week's Sedra. But the Rashi that we're going to talk about is the very first Rashi in Vayikra, in Parshas Korach. Rashi says, Vayikach Korach. So Rashi says, the famous Rashi, Parsha Zu Yofa Nidreshes B'Medrash Rabbi Tanchuma. This Parsha is very well explained in the Medrash of Rabbi Tanchuma. And the question is, the Taz asks a question in his Pirish on Rashi, a very cute question. And that is, wait, the Gemara says, I don't know where I remember where the Gemara is, I think it's Gemara in Nida. The Gemara says that you don't say Parshazu Noah, Parshazu Yafeh. It's not appropriate because Medrash Noah, because when you're saying this is a beautiful Medrash, at the same time, what you're really saying is that there's some that aren't so beautiful. You hear the question? If you're saying that something is beautiful, you hear the question, the Taz is Kasha on Rashi. On the very first Rashi this week said, Vikach Korach. So Rashi says, and Korach took. So Rashi, famous Rashi says, Pashazu Yofa Nidrashas. So the question that the Taz in his parish, what's his parish? Something David. Do I remember the name of the parish? He's got a parish on Rashi. And they, many years ago, had the occasion to see, I'll tell you why in a second, but not now. And he asks a question like this: that the word Yofer, Parashazu Yofer Nidrashis, is connected to Gemara, because the Gemara says you don't say on a medrash Zu Noah, the Mishnah Zu Noah, because you're saying this is nice, implying that this one is not nice. So it's very interesting because, you know, when it was, I've got to say Geschmack is Shtickle Torah, right? What do you mean? Every Shtickle Torah should be Geschmack. That's an expression that's used. But Rashi.
What's wrong with meaning that everything is nice, but this one stands out as just.
But that's not that. It's all should be standing out. That's what Gemara trying to say. We got to always look at Torah as equally standing out, equally beautiful. And even though some are harder pieces and some are easy pieces, right? But in the end, they're meant to be equally beautiful. That's the idea. Or at least don't say, if you say, this is a beautiful person, right? At the same time, by saying this is a beautiful person, you are implying that our people are not beautiful, right? So that's what the Gemara is saying. If it's said in a way that could be misunderstood, and that's the question that Taz asks on Rashi, what does Rashi do with the Gemara? How do you start off? Very nice, he's got a nice Peshat. But Rashi doesn't say, Pasha do Yofa Nidrashas. You hear the Kasha? To which the Taz answers, and I'm going to elaborate on a little bit because it's not exactly what it says, but this is the Nakuda I want to bring up. That you should know, Rashi has 4 ways how to explain things. Rashi always says there's Pshat, there's Remez, there's Drush, and there's Side. Rashi says, always I go al derech hapshat. Rashi is very, very big to explain things al derech hapshat. That's Rashi. Rashi goes out of his way and an amazing pirish al derech hapshat kol HaTorah kula, because the Torah has so many deep messages, and Rashi just explains the Torah. And in fact, the Ramban uses the expression that he's the king. He's the king of all Mefarshim, because he was able to take all the psukim al derech hapshat to teach you a lot of things which is learned in the Gemara, and a lot of things learned in the Medrash, and a lot of things. But that was the pshat in the pasuk. Rashi says everything al derech hapshat. Over here, Rashi had a very big problem. Says the Taz. Rashi had a problem. Vayikach Korach. What did he take? It doesn't say anything. He took anything. So Rashi says over here, the Medrash and Pshat are exactly the same. Because the Medrash explains, so that is called Yafeh. When two concepts. One's a total different idea, pshat. One is medrash. When they come together, that's mishat yofen. That's the way the Tesla is pshat. Yofen and drushes, is coming together as a beautiful concept. One, two ideas coming together as one. And that, by the way, I want to add on, is what a shidduch is all about. When we say the shidduch should be oile yafe, what does it mean, oile yafe? We know Kashem Shepatz is same and Shabbos, just like people's faces are different, so also their deisayim, the way they think, is different, right? But we say the shidduch should be oile yafe. Two people should come together in different ideas, and men are from Mars and the women are from Venus. You've heard the expression before. If you haven't, well, it's not a Jewish expression, but it is true, and that is they are very different in the way they think, and that's gufa. When they come together, the shidduch should be oile yafe. You're giving them a bracha. You're giving them a bracha that the shidduch that have two different ideas should come together as one. And that's the real idea of reus, what friendship is, where you have two different ideas, singular, coming together as one. And that's what friendship is. Friendship is all about, I would go into it a little bit more. We'll do that in Parshas. And we're getting close to Rosh Hashanah. We'll give you a vart from Rav Hutner in the idea of Reus being the idea of two single units coming together as one, but not for now. So let's just go to this point, and that is that the Parasha Zu Yofen and Drashes is when you got two ideas coming together as one, the Medrash and the Pshat. And that's what Rashi is saying over here. Parasha Zu Yofen and Drashes, and it's very nice, good thing to say at the Sheva Brachas, which I'm going to be speaking at Punk, tonight, because you're going to say the Shech Sheba Eliyafa is because two people, 2 days, and they're going to, you
How
give them.
is the Pshat and the Drush coming together? How does it?
Because the Pshat of Poshe Pshat of Vayikach means lokach chazatzmai or lokach b'dvarim. That's Poshe Pshat. No, it's not Pshat that it's a medrash Pshat in the pasuk. It's the real meaning. That is the Pshat and Remez in this pasuk, and Pshat and Drush in this pasuk is the same. That is the Pshat of the pasuk. It's not that it's a kvetch in how to learn it with Materas, a different way of learning.
The Drush in this pasuk is the actual.
Is the actual pshat of the pasuk. That's the way how the Taz learns pshat. The very same pshat.
Very good.
The very nice pshat. Beautiful pshat, beautiful kasha, beautiful teretz.
Also have a Sheva Brachas tonight.
Huh?
Also have a Sheva Brachas.
So now you have what to say. No, it's a beautiful word. It's Sheva Brachas. Huh? I am going to be speaking, and I'm going to be saying this word. So how did this word come into being? This word came into being because I had a kid's bar mitzvah on Parshas Korach. One of my children, was Shia, and the one that was Nifta. So his bar mitzvah Parshas, and you're talking about bar mitzvah, and you want to say it about Torah. It's very hard to find a Parshas Korach. You want to do it. So I punked up to take out a Taz. And he said over, and I said, listen, and this is what he added on for his bar mitzvah. He says, you should know, today I got my Yetzer Tov. I had, for the last 13 years, I had my Yetzer Hara. You should know the mitzvah should be, the shidduch should be early yafa. The shidduch, the idam to the Rishon, that the shidduch should be yetzer, v'havta es Hashem lekecho, b'chol levavcha, b'shnei yitzarecha, right?
So he said,
That's what he said over the that's what he said. That's what he said over the mitzvah. That was a nice word. He said, idam that the shidduch should be early yafa, and it should come together as one, and I should have a shidduch between my Yetzer Hara and my Yetzer Tov in a nice way. I guess nice word to say for mitzvah. So that was his tefillah that he's damn to Moshe. It's a nice word. Alright, so then what's the point? The point I want to bring out is that we have to know we have to serve Hashem also with our Yetzer Hara. We have a Yetzer Hara, and we have to realize there's a way how to serve Hashem also with our Yetzer Hara. Sometimes it's just the passion to do the mitzvah. Sometimes it's the fact that we have a Yetzer Hara called an Nisayon, and we are overcoming it by the way how we overcome it, and that's serving Hashem, because you're using the Yetzer Hara to create the nisayon, whatever we're going to discuss in a second, and we're going to work it through, and we're going to do something in last week's Sedra with the Chinuch, and that's a mitzvah, and it's very important to go to the summit with this message of Leisasuru Achel Levavchem V'Achreinechem. We're going to be able to, once you finish this Chinuch, be able to grow with your Yetzer Hara the same way as you're growing with your Yetzer Tov, to be able to make you into a bigger and better person. Of course, it's not a simple avodah. And Leisasur Achel V'Achreinechem is applicable as a famous story with what do you call it? What's the Lapian. About Lapian, the boy came to him and says that he wants to go to his sister's vart or engagement, and I was like, or l'chaim, I don't know exactly. And he asked why do you have to go? And he said, first of all, where is it? And he said someplace down south or wherever it was. It was something, or Tel Aviv, I don't remember exactly where it was. To which he said, why would you want to go, to the Tachna Mekazit? There's so much shtusim to go there just for a vart, just for an engagement. So he said, "Don't worry, Rabbi. I'm okay. I'm okay with my Shmir Sanayim. I'm okay in Shmir Sanayim." To which, you know the story? To which Rabbi Ali Lapian looked at him and says, "I am blind in one eye. I'm over 90 years old and I'm still having problems, and you're okay." That's exactly what he said. I'm blind in one eye. I'm over 90 years old and I'm still having problems, and you're okay. Okay, you understand that everybody's fighting this. It doesn't happen just because you're a bocher, and just because you're just a bocher, you think it's a bocherische problem. It's a problem that every person has, including myself. Okay, everybody has this problem, and I can't say everyone is nichshel as many times as others, but everybody has to know that there are constantly going to be issues throughout summer, and we're going to actually learn a very, very beautiful way how to serve Hashem with your Yetzer Hara, and the Shiurim shebe'olei yafim et Hashem. And the way how we're going to do it is listening carefully to what we're going to learn about. So let's learn the chinuch about this Isser. It's the last piece, and it's obviously very, very beautiful. And it's listen, I'm talking to grown-ups over here. We're talking to people who have understanding that life is about Torah and Kedusha. And we're going to learn it from a Kedusha-tic way. And you'll be surprised how you can serve Hashem with your Yetzer Hara. So let's understand what the Issa is. Believe it or not, this is not just about your eyesight it's just for looking at not near sticker situations. It's also about a total different concept, and that is your lave going to Avodah Zarah. Now, what Avodah Zarah has got to do with this is a pala. What's it got to do with Avodah Zarah? And look at the mitzvah. Yeah, don't worry. Well, you missed a very good kasha.
Rabbi needs more coffees.
Rabbi was a good kasha. Rabbi the kasha on Pashas Unyof in the drushes.
Thanks.
You have to do the kasha. The kasha was a simple kasha. Pashas Unyof in the drushes. The Gemara says that you don't say the Taz has the kasha.
Sure, Maral talks about such things.
Yeah. No. But why does Rashi use the word yofa when the Gemara says you don't say medish zunaya? And so medish zunaya.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want? Oh, that's what it is. That's what I couldn't know what it is.
Yeah.
So if medish zunaya, where was that samach something? Where was it?
Someone else talking about.
Yeah. Okay. So the Gemara says that medish zunaya. Why is Rashi asked the Taz? Why does Rashi say Pashas Uyaf and the drashas? And now you have to wait till after the shir to get the answer. But hear the question.
Yes, Pashas Kasha. Yes. Yeah.
You had the kasha. You had the kasha.
No, but now you tell me the Gemara. I put it together.
I got it. You got it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Think about it, and if you come up with a good teretz, I'd love to hear. Maybe you got the Taz's teretz. But it's a good thing to say. I hold at the bar mitzvah too. Okay, if you're able to say it. By the way, what we're trying to build out from over here, by the way, Rabbi, is we're going to learn out from over here how you can serve Hashem with the Yetzer Hara. And that's the mitzvah that you're going to have the shirch being only offered by every person. And we're talking about the mitzvah of shloilasu acham achshavas alev u'riyas anayim. And it's applicable somehow or another to avodah zarah and looking at ladies, right? Looking at things which are not tsunua. So what's going on? What's the shaykhs one with the other? What do they work together? How do they work together? Avodah Zarah? Avodah Zarah. Can you tell me? Maybe you can help me with this. It's not an easy one to understand. What's it got to do with Avodah Zarah? You missed a good question.
Okay.
Just the question.
Yeah.
Just the question.
Yes.
The question is, the first Rashi this week's Sedra. First Rashi this week's Sedra, we're repeating it, and I don't mind it being. The first Rashi this week's Sedra says, Pasha Zu Yofen Drashis Medish Rabbi Tanchuma. This Pasha is well explained in the Medish Rabbi Tanchuma. Frank the Taz, interesting question.
Parshas
Korach.
Okay, I didn't start yet.
It's okay, it's the very first Rashi.
Right.
So the Kasha is a simple question. What does Rashi, why is Rashi using the word Yafa? That means beautiful, right? It's beautiful, well explained. The Gemara in Erevin says clearly, it's wrong, it's also to say, Medrash Zu Noeh. This Medrash is a beautiful Medrash. Right. Because if you're saying this is beautiful, you're implying, there are not beautiful parts to the Medrash.
Oh, okay.
That's what it means. When you say this is beautiful, what do you mean this is beautiful? This is beautiful. What do you mean? Yeah. So you meant to say, I've got another beautiful Medrash. That's okay. But another beautiful Medrash is not a problem. I've got another, but Parasha Zu Yof and Reshis is implying there are some which are not so Yofa. The Taz asked the question. The Taz on Rashi has got a pirish. I think it's called something David. I've forgotten the name of the Sefer, but he's got a pirish on Rashi, and he asked the kasha, and he says a beautiful teretz. And I was explaining, and I said it over. The idea is that there's pshat, remez, side, and drash in everything. Paras. Rashi always likes to go with derech hapshat. Rashi says always.
He says it from
the whole time. They always are there.
Clearly is.
And rag the whole time, constantly. Over here, pshat is with the medrash. There is no other pshat. Pshat and medrash come together as one. That's Yafer. When you got two different ideas of explaining the Torah from a different angle, that's Pashazu Yafer and Drash. It's not that the Medrash is the Yafer, but the idea that the Pshat and Remez are coming together, Pshat and Medrash are coming together, that's Yafer. So we went a little bit further. We said, so also when we say a Shidduch is Oile Yafer, now you got no Pshat. You got two people, two people from two different ways of thinking. We give a bracha to the Chassan and Kala that they should come together as one because they are different. And men are from Mars and women are from Venus, right? You've heard that before, right? Yeah. So they have two ways of thinking. We daven and we give a bracha. The shidduch should be oile yafer. Just like this yafer in the. So I said over that I had a child, his name is Shia, that was Nifta, okay? And he said it at his bar mitzvah drasha. This is what he said. He was part.
You know what the Gemara yesterday said about children that were lifted.
Yeah.
Holds and
Yeah.
and learns it them. Right?
Yeah. We're gonna. Did you know the grass chatting that this thing? Okay, well, I'm not going to do that now. So, but let me go into this piece. Yeah. So the idea that we want to bring out is that he said it is a mitzvah. That now I just got my Yetzer Tov. Until now I got my Yetzer Hara. I'm davening to Hashem. This is what he says in the mitzvah. That the shirk should be oile yafer. That the bechol levavcha, that you got to be serving Hashem, you should know you can serve Hashem with both. And I davened to Hashem, the shirk should be oile yafer, and that's the way he davened. Okay, that was his tefillah to Hashem. Now let's move on to what I want to talk about. We're just going into summer, and the last mitzvah of last week's Sedra, I want to talk about, even though we have what to talk about in this week's Sedra, but we want to focus on last week's because we're going to be able to serve Hashem with our Yetzer Hara. How are we going to serve Hashem is the last mitzvah. And that is...
Yitzreinu l'shtavid la.
That's right. But Yitzreinu, both of them. Yitzreinu is both of them. And B'chol Levavcha, as Chazal say, is B'chol Levavcha means B'shnei Yitzarecha. The true Jew can serve Hashem, and he needs both to serve Hashem. And the mitzvah of this week's Sedra that I want to talk about, which is in last week's Sedra, the last mitzvah is Shleilosu Achem Achshavas Halev and Riyas Enayim. That you got to keep your eyes focused and your heart focused in a way. Now, we're going to see how we're going to serve Hashem and learn how to serve Hashem, an amazing way how to serve Hashem with your Yetzer Hara. And this is the typical Yetzer Hara that we all have, And we're going into summer, and it's going to be a very big issue every year. And I gave a story that I said over, and I'm going to repeat it just because it's such a powerful story. With Reb Elia Lapian, that a boy wanted to go to a vart or an engagement party or to a chaim, I don't know, of his sister, and it was traveling through the Tachna Merkazit in Tel Aviv. We had to go to Tachna, and he said to him, "How can you go there just for the vart? Just for a vart, you're going to go through the Tachna Merkazit is full of spritzes. Why do you want to leave yeshiva and go?" So he says, "Rebbe, I've worked on Shemir Sinayim. I've worked on it. It's one of my areas I'm quite comfortable with." To which the Elia Rabbi responded, "I am 90 years old. I'm blind in one eye, and I'm still fighting this area. So don't you tell me that you as a Bacha can have resolved that issue. We all fight. And that's part of, by the way, how to serve Hashem. We're going to serve. That fighting is part of serving Hashem. On the contrary, I heard from serving Hashem involves fighting. It's not serving Hashem does not involve a roller coaster. And serving Hashem is not a roller coaster. Serving Hashem is a fight. And it's called, in Reb Dessler's terminology, he calls it Nekudas HaBechira. That's it's a complicated concept. He says every single day, there's a person who wakes up in the morning. This is what he calls it Nekudas HaBechira. We all know, I think, that nobody over here in this room is interested in eating pork, right? You don't have a bechira really about pork, right? A cheese hamburger. I don't think anybody over here has any Yetzer Hara for it.
I'll spy Yetzer Hara.
When you're
We're traveling, and you smell.
People eating scrunchies when you're starving.
I'm starving.
You haven't had kosher
Good.
To me, it's a big.
Great distilling too.
Good.
Barely.
But that's your Nekudas HaBechira for that day.
Yeah.
That means every day you have a Nekudas HaBechira. That means you move on the scale. Okay, now let's go to the other.
The claims in the 70s was more of an assign when there was no kosher restaurants and whatever it was.
I had a chaver.
It was Amnom's Pizza.
I have a chaver of mine that told me he's a ger, that every time he walks past McDonald's, he has the Swift. He drives him crazy.
Their fries are very good.
No. It's a cheese hamburger. You got no idea what it tastes like. He says it drives him crazy. Okay, I'm just telling you now. I've got a friend of mine.
Imagine what it's like, but
Yeah.
try to make my imagination.
But he says it's very
All
tasty.
these fancy upscale burger routes, they have fake cheese.
No, the cheese. No, but it's not. No.
They have the fake cheese.
No, but it
doesn't taste the same.
not the same. Okay,
It
whatever.
looks like a real cheeseburger.
And it could be we would eat it, but I'm just letting now in Metzias that we all have different Nekudas HaBechira, every one of us. And I just gave you the example that I thought that would be safe. Okay, maybe that.
I just Shuva, and every time we pass, Jack in the I used to go right.
That's right. That's it. Okay. Now there's another one, and that's very true. And another one, and it's very interesting, and that is we all during Shemoneh Esrei when we daven Shemoneh Esrei, right, and we say the name of Hashem, we don't have all the kavanos, right? And I don't think we have too much of a bechira on that because it's just too much. I mean, for most people, I'm not saying anything else, even though we should, right? It's just one of those things that it's not in our level yet at this point of our lives, maybe Rebbe, but I'm not saying for the average Joe, right? Having the right kavanos for every single Hashem that you're saying in Shemoneh Esrei, right, is tough. It's very tough. You don't really have a very much bechira, right? You're not fighting too much. Every time you're saying Hashem's name, you're not going to yourself, oh my goodness, I keep on forgetting Hashem's kavanos, all those kavanos, let's get it really hard. Kavanos are Rizal, every time you're saying anyone's, you don't even know them. But let's say you would know them, you're not having any shilas of those kavanos. Teres is, there's somewhere in between every day that constantly moves, and it's constantly, we have a bechira. And this is a very, very interesting concept which he speaks about, and it's called the moving constant Nekudas HaBechira. The fight that we have on a daily basis is just on a certain areas, over a certain amount of range, and that either moves up and either moves down depending on what type of person we are. If we're looking to be growing, even though we don't realize it, but that Nekudas Bechira starts moving up. And the range goes in over time. It's not something that goes very easily. And we shouldn't be thinking, and we're not going to get very much schar for the fact that we didn't eat pork today. And we're not going to get very much punishment for the fact that we didn't have every single kavanah, every single shem. That's not our area that we're going to, our fight is in this area. Now, we're going to talk about this, but we're going to go a little off, and that is, there's another point you're going to have to realize. That how does a person understand what is the isser of looking at a lady? Looking at a lady? And what's the isser of tying this together with...
Spittle Torah, no?
Okay, that's by the way, if you do it for that reason, Eli, no, but I'm saying, but Eli's good. Eli's gewaltig. In other words,
the best sense.
I know. The best sense, because he knows that I'm not thinking about that, B'Shas Maisa. You're going to grow. And
Changes you.
100%. Okay. Watch this. He actually,
going good.
you won't believe it.
In one picture and
Yeah,
in a magazine.
Yeah.
Boom, you're a different person.
We're all real people. And by the way, you won't believe it, the L is not far off. That's the biggest joke. We're going to see in a second. This point. That's why it's so funny what you just said. Let's read what it says. Sometimes your jokes are real. That we shouldn't, this is the Issa. The Issa is that we shouldn't nosor, by the way, do you want to know a very cute word? The English word to tour, to go on a trip and go. Lasor is the same word.
Right.
So now leisasuru is touring. Okay, get carefully, because it's very, very important to know what the word means. You're not just looking; you're touring. Okay, do you understand what do you do when you're touring? You're not just looking and just
It's not a happenstance. It's premeditated.
It's a little bit very good. That's where we're getting it. It's premeditated. You're going on the tour. Right, you're going on that tour, and also you're enjoying what you're seeing, and you're trying to enjoy what you're seeing as well. You know, take it in, and take it inside your body. That's what we're going to talk about. The issa of this issa is. There's going to, and I had quite a heated discussion with a bocher when I gave this shit yesterday, and. He saw something in Mishnah Berurah, which the Mishnah Berurah says something, and he didn't get it right. And it's so bad because I told him until I went to the Rav to teach him Pshat in that Mishnah Berurah, because they read the words, and the words he saw out of context, mamish out of context. His staklos ba'alma is asa. That's not true. Sorry, liris ba'alma.
Looking and staring.
Okay, we're gonna get there. We're actually gonna get there. Mamish that point.
So you have to be a human being. You're going to get to, or it's going to lie in the corner of the room upside down with your head.
Beautiful. Exactly. And I found the Mishnah Berurah that said very clearly, Ria al-pitumai, Masech al-pitumai, Ria al-pitumai, Shari. It's mutter. It's not awesome. Sure. Oh, well, that's what we're going to get to.
What?
Ria al-pitumai. That means the guy who just was walking the street and he saw something, right? The example is
walking down the street. You don't want to bump into something.
Right.
I agree. I just have a different share of what really.
Okay, yeah, sure. We're going to talk about that shear too, also, by the way. We're going to discuss that. That shear is going to be this shear. That shear is going to be this
a little
shear.
longer.
Okay, I'm saying that shear is going to be this shear. Okay, what we're going to introduce over here is that you can stop the issa. In your head. We're going to learn the concept of controlling not what you see. I heard this from actually this week. I heard it from Yaakov Meir. You know, when that's wrong. Yaakov Meir, and the famous speaker, Shachter. He said like this: the first sight that you see is called nisayon. That's
called
nisayon. That's Hashem giving you a test. The second is where the test is going to be made or failed, and we're going to get there.
So in the distance, you put your head down.
It's all over. But what even better, we're going to see how we're going to use the Yitzhak for good. Okay. This is where we're going to see how to play the Yitzhak according to the Chinuch. And this is a very hard thing to talk about, but it's a very important thing to talk about. And we're all people, and it's so important for us to grow up and realize that every person, no person is free from this. That we shouldn't let our machshavas just tour, whatever that means, wander. We shouldn't let our wandering mind be in a state of wonder in the form that's going to cause us problems. Or with our eyesight. Let our eyes be without focus and just wander. Don't let our eyes wander. That's the Issa. The Issa is not having control, just touring, enjoying your walk down the road, doing window shopping. That's not acceptable. The idea of just going on a tour with your eyes or your heart and not being in control at any moment of your eyes and your heart is a problem. That's where the Issa is. The Torah is telling you, you have to be in control of your eyes and your heart. Not that you're not going to see things, but you can control them. That means you're allowed to see it and then control it. See it and learn how to control it. We're going to learn how to control it in a second. But there's going to be a way how from what you see and what you control, it starts off in the heart. Because when your heart is focused on making sure that you're in control, then the eyes can follow through. And that's what Chazal explained to you. Inyan lavzeh shenimnanu, that we have to refrain. We have to stop ourselves thinking things that are not appropriate for Torah, which is the opposite of Torah. We have to realize our minds and our hearts have to allow ourselves. You can think about business, you can think about things which are not against Torah, but you can't allow yourself to think about, you know what, I need to get this guy back. I owe this guy, I'm going to find a way. I want to curse this guy in my head. That's not Torah. So you're not allowed to let your mind go on a thought process. Whenever your thought process goes on something, that guy ba'avel you, right? You're not allowed to do anything in your heart which you know is asa. It's just nothing to do with anything to do. It's avodah zarah too. And that's Chazal explained it in the format of avodah zarah. Because avodah zarah is very tempting in the days of Chazal. It was very tempting, wherever the tempting temptation. So you allow yourself to flicker about that temptation, even though you don't want to ever do it. That's the Issa. Don't let the flicker of temptation allow it to sit in your heart. You've got to be very careful that's where it starts from. It starts from your heart. Your mind goes, your eyes wander what your heart really wants to do. The heart has the desire for the eye to be able to see. If you don't want to look, let's say you're seeing somebody getting hurt, that you immediately, naturally at least, don't want to turn away from it because it hurts your eye. So in your heart, you want to see nice things. You don't want to see unpleasant things. You don't want to see when your kid is getting stitches, right? I can't handle watching blood. I can't handle it. And I turn my face away, and the doctor usually says to me, maybe you need something also, because that's what happens. Yet, there's a famous story with the Briskerov that he was very, very, very sensitive to blood. Yet, there was something weird that happened when he was standing by a bris. Though he had no problem looking at the bris. You hear this? Wow. And they couldn't understand what he's such a sensitive person, a very sensitive person, but yet when it came to the bris, he would look at the bris. So they told him, what's the difference? So he said to them, I don't understand. That's dam and that's dam mila. What's the difference? What do you mean? It's a different min. It's a different min. It's veidinim. It's dam mila. It's not blood. It's dam mila.
One is blood of pain. One of blood is blood of destruction. One is not blood.
He doesn't see it. It's damn blood. It's not blood. In other words, your mindset, what you see, is very important, controlled by your heart. You can see the same blood, but your heart can see it's dam mila, and your heart can see it as dam. Just regular blood, depending on the situation. So your heart is what creates in your mind really what you see. You see things, but you see it with your heart first. Your heart's a very important, and that's what he says over here. She'inyan loves there. I'm not even starting yet with the shit that I want to get to, but it's a pity. But the message is very important, and that is you're in control. And the Chinuch writes it many times. Liba shall also. I'll have to cut it short because I don't know where we're up to. But liba shall adam masa b'yadai. One or two should be finished. But okay, liba shall adam masa b'yadai. The person's heart. Okay, wait till Mincha if you want to, because we really have to finish this one. Inyan lav's there. The Inyan of this lav, sheninanu shleniyachid machshveseinu lachshiv b'dei shem hefech hadas HaTorah. We cannot allow ourselves in any area, but it's talking about over here, whether it's talking about anything, over here it's talking about avodah zarah. But of course, it's anything. It's anything. That's the most important. He doesn't say avodah zarah. He says anything which is connected to HaTorah. And then, because once you allow yourself to enjoy things which is not das Torah, you can come to be over the Issa, because it's enjoyable in those days of Avodah Zarah. Wherever we understand it, there was a passion for Avodah Zarah equal to that of the passion for women. Same passion. Because why do we know that? Because the Gemara says they took off the Yitzhak of this, and then the next one took off the Yitzhak for that. So they were very close to each other. And then they realized they can't get rid of this one because this is too strong. Because this one means that as I said, the chicken never laid an egg. So the world became that we need to have children and we need to have a future generation, and it's important to know how to serve Hashem within the Yitzhak. So we're going to see how to do that. And he says, "Ve'im ela im yala al liboy ruach lachshay ba'isen deis haroim." If you have this this passion in your heart, which refers to either a woman or, though he's talking about avodah zarah, but it's the same idea. And he says a little word, yekatze machshavtoi. You got to learn how to cut it. Yekatze means shorten it. This is a very important point. You mentioned about the shortening, how long. You got to learn that whenever you find yourself thinking, learn, I have to cut it. Once you get into the head and the message that you can just cut it, and once you cut it, you're mekayim the mitzvah of Shlit, you're not over the lav. As soon as
I was just by a therapist because I'm working on my thought pattern. It says you are your thoughts, and your thoughts control your emotions. So just cut your thoughts, and you don't control your emotions.
Great.
You have to know you are your thoughts. Now you're going to keep on thinking a certain way. You have to realize it's not healthy for you. You know, and you have to change that.
I'm going to tell you my wording. I'm going to read you the words of the Chinuch, and you'll love them.
Yeah.
It's not over here. It's in Parshas Vers Chanan. Liboy shel Adam mosu b'yadai. You are in total control of your heart. B'yadai laharchiv, b'yadai lekariv. You cannot think two thoughts at once. You can actually, in your heart, create a situation. We're going to see how we're going to do this. And this is how you're going to serve Hashem.
Easiest way. You can't learn without.
That's right. That's right.
I cannot do the daf if I have other thoughts. I just can't.
That's
Take
right.
your whole day.
It's terrible.
You can't. It gets clogged up. The thought's going to do. You have to.
You have to switch off.
Meditation.
Just switch off. You have to switch off.
Meditation really is.
That's right.
Get it out.
Get it out. And we're going to learn how to learn and how to do everything in
The
life.
thoughts come from.
Okay, we're going to get. But no, I want you to know the Chinuch does argue with psychiatrists and psychologists. He argues with them in this point.
That has a crazy slow pattern to look at women.
Okay, no, very common.
But there's something
very
causing it that it's constant. Also,
let me tell you the difference is. There are people who are inclined to do this and inclined to do that. That everybody agrees with.
right.
The question is, do you have controls inside without any external controls? And the answer is yes. The Chinuch is of the opinion that God created a person. He knows, and there's nobody who doesn't know a person better than Hashem. He put in all the pieces. Every piece that you have was created and done to specifically for you what you can handle. And that is a basic yesod that without it, you can't live. You have to know that there's no such thing as being out of control. Yes, a guy can have trauma in his life. It was, unfortunately, part of his life to be able to work from there to grow. Not that a person doesn't need to take medication because of the trauma, etc., etc. That's not what we're saying. Grow with the medication maybe, or not, or grow out of the medication, but you have to learn how to take care the trauma and work it through, because it's not good enough just to live off medicines, because it doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't not only doesn't solve the problem, it masks the problem and creates many more problems because you're not addressing them, and actually makes the guy more frustrated because he's not addressing his problem. And you have to learn like this: you are in control. The first thing that you have to understand before you are over, and you know what he says? He says, by the way, I'll go into it this point because again, and we've got a little bit more time than I expected. If you don't mind, do you mind?
No.
Okay. And this is very interesting conversation. Yes?
Talk? Do you mind?
No, I'm good.
Do you mind?
No.
Okay, if you want.
He doesn't mind for sure.
Okay. You mind? Do you mind?
He doesn't mind. He doesn't mind. Mind why?
Oh, okay.
We did
okay.
get a little longer for the share. Go ahead for them. Whatever.
Okay, go to Mincha. Thank you so much. Thank you for help. So now here goes. So this is the message. There's a mitzvah in the Torah.
Yeah.
Which everybody asks the question and everybody discusses, and that is the mitzvah of jealousy. There's one of the 10 commandments.
Yeah.
Leisachmoid. Oh, you must not be jealous of that, your fellow, his wife and his children and whatever his base and his house and his fortune. You mustn't be jealous. What do you mean you mustn't be jealous? I feel jealous. Says, when can the Torah legislate feeling? So I'll read you the words of the Hachinuch because I know them by heart. And this is what he says. I almost paraphrase. I might be slightly off, but this is the message. The mitzvah, I don't know where it is. It's in Vayeschanan, Parshat Vayeschanan, and the mitzvah is as follows. Anybody who asks this question, roim v'choitim benafshom. Anybody who says, ask this question, is got a problem in his nefesh that's serious enough for the chinuch to say he's evil and he's foolish. He uses the word foolish, evil, and a chayta, to think that he's not in control. Let me tell you something like this. You are in control. There's no issue to be jealous. The issue is to keep the jealousy inside you. That means to keep that jealousy. There's no problem being jealous for a second. A fleeting thought, oh my goodness, he's got a gorgeous car. I wish I could have such a car. No problem. But then you say to yourself, excuse me, that's inappropriate. You don't have to hold that inside you. Just get it out of your head. Get it out of your head. Don't focus on it. The issue is the focus. There's no issue to be jealous. The issue is to focus on and keeping it and saying, what can I do? I wish I could have such a, I wish. That's not for you to think about. Hashem gave it to him. Work out a way as how to say to yourself, I love you, Hashem. I know that it's best for me not to have a car. Because if it would be best for me, I would have it. Okay? If it would be best, and learn to say, Hashem, I love you. Because by the way,
Can I say a little deeper what you say?
okay, but I'm going
He's saying is, let's say you get that initial jealousy feeling, but you're constantly telling yourself, I'm jealous.
That's right.
I'm singing a concert song.
That's right. That's it.
Saying those emotions, of course you're jealous l'chatchila, but don't dance a whole wedding of it. The next time you say it, John, this is not.
No, not even the next time. At that moment in
Right.
time,
This is
say,
appropriate thoughts. Appropriate thoughts.
that's all. That's what you say.
Jealous?
That's it. Gewalt. You
Why are you
can't.
jealous of Ellie? Because he has a beautiful blue t-shirt?
You can learn the concept. Beautiful. You're saying it. You're almost saying it. Almost there. By the way, you're almost there. He says, "You can't say machshavtoi."
Right.
Learn. That's it. You can't say That's it.
Exactly.
All you have
Like,
to
you
do,
know,
and you're Mekayim the
Sometimes you
mitzvah.
get this crazy thought. I wonder, by a train station, I wonder if I push the guy. I don't know where that thought comes from.
That's right. Gewaltig.
It's like, I wonder if I push a guy. What the heck?
That's it.
Hold on to this.
Oh, you almost
say,
get it.
I can't even. What am I?
Well,
crazy? I
the
hold
crazy
on to it.
Schwarzes who do it.
That's how you have to think.
Oh, almost.
crazy
almost.
schwarz.
No, but you're getting there. You geschmack.
Yeah.
Mommy's getting there. But I want to just explain. Learn how to train yourself. And this is what we're going to learn over here. It's going to be the for these two mitzvahs: jealousy and looking at women and looking at and allowing yourself to get involved in anything. This is going to help your whole life,
Right.
and it's by going to help every mitzvah. And this is what it is: allow yourself to say enough. Excuse me, who are you? I am not that bad guy who thinks this way. I want to love Hashem, and Hashem doesn't want me to think this. Hashem doesn't want me to think, I love you, Hashem. I love you, Hashem. And therefore, because I love you, at this moment in time, I can get, you know what I'm going to get? I can get where no malach in the world can get to. I can ask for anything right now, because in the schus of me right now, at this moment in time, being kovish myself, learn how to find the techniques. Learn the techniques to be makatzer.
Don't say I don't.
I do feel
it, but Hashem doesn't want me to.
And I won't do for Hashem. Just say, Hashem, I know you don't want it.
Yes.
No, you say to Hashem, talk to Hashem, bring him into your life. No, you don't understand. Talk to Hashem. And by the way, I want you to add on one thing, two things. One is that every time you say, I love you, Hashem, every time you say it, okay? And obviously you're going to be thinking it. You're Mekayim a mitzvah deraisa tamidis. It's one of the mitzvahs. Look at the very beginning of the Shulchan Aruch brings it from Biur Halacha. You're Mekayim a mitzvah deraisa of Ahavta es Hashem Elokecha by just saying every moment you say it. So you can keep on saying now. I love you, Hashem. I love you, Hashem. Every time I'm saying it right now, I'm Mekayim another mitzvah. You can keep it in your head.
I love you, Hashem.
I love you, Hashem. And the way, why? I give a reason. But how? But not like we want Mashiach now. Right. I want it much better. I want it. Why? In my head. Listen, I have Baruch Hashem. I woke up this morning. I love you, Hashem, because Lamaisa Baruch Hashem business is good. But I woke up Hashem because Baruch Hashem, I've been able to deal with a problem which for the months I've been dealing with, and all of a sudden it came out. And how many children and whatever it is that I've been able to do and help. Yeah, Baruch Hashem, I'm not going. Baruch Hashem, I went to Yeshiva and I learned in the morning. That's right. I have a purpose to live.
To collect rent.
I have a purpose.
Stop in Riverdale.
You should go collect rent if the real estate guy. Go to rent. It's Moyas.
You can hire me. I'll do it.
You knock on doors. That's all.
I used to.
People really do
I
that.
used to do. No.
Like a mamish, like a tax collector.
No, my father used to knock on doors. That was how it used to be.
You have to have a gun.
He's not afraid of getting shot.
How do you call them? I'm just saying.
No, you speak the right.
You know, my father used to knock on doors. They used to know he came around with a bag. They gave him a cash. They waited for him in the lobby. Beat him up like it was a dangerous
Obviously.
job. Can't go at night. Yeah.
No, listen, the bottom line is you usually go with two people. That's the way how to do it.
I would never do something like that. It was collecting money in the box, selling a big bag of money.
Sure.
And they will throw themselves at you not to have rent.
Yeah, sure.
Go to apartment.
Yeah.
It never happened in my generation.
Yeah.
And previous.
Yeah, sure. No, by the way.
Yeah.
They were going to go off topic.
Yeah.
But the point is exactly that. No, but exactly that. We have to learn to work on techniques is this what Hashem wants me to think right now? I know Hashem doesn't want to. So Hashem, I love you.
You're not hiding your thoughts.
That's right.
That's the point, because you can't.
Validate.
Right.
Okay, almost
I
there.
like that. It looks beautiful, but Hashem doesn't want me to keep.
And that's all. There's a mitzvah. There is a deraisa to allow your heart to think something. That's Issa. The Issa of Lesachmoid, he says, is not to be no problem. Is to allow the heart, the thought to stay in your head. Allow the thoughts. That's the Issa. The Issa is every time you keep it long in your head, you've got a mitzvah lekatzer. That's the Issa. Just lekatzer al mashova. And you got to lekatzer with your Yetzer Tov against the Yitzchok, and you can build a tremendous, what they call a shield for the Issa. Why? Because one thing the Yitzchok does not want to do is you to do another mitzvah while he wants you to do an avera. This is a Victor Miller's side. The more times you do, say, you do me another one, I'm going to do another mitzvah. You do another one, I'm going to do another mitzvah. So if you say, I love you, Hashem, every time he comes to you, right? You are actually, he says, forget it. This guy, I'm keeping away from this guy a little bit more because I'm not interested in getting more mitzvahs in this world. That's right. And he says, what you're doing is just serving Hashem with your Yetzirah. No, but the Victor Miller says this. It's a beautiful, he says, what you're doing is creating for Hashem. He does say it in a little bit, in a way.
That's a genius.
Genius, the thing. That what's happening is...
I'll tell you, I did it once. I used to wake up in the middle of the night, and I couldn't sleep the whole night.
Right.
So I started learning.
Right.
The Yitzchok put me right...
That's it. He says, that's it. Goodbye. I'm not coming to this guy ever again. I don't want to deal with a guy that he's always doing a mitzvah when I'm trying to make him do an avera. So, and the kid says,
to find another.
yeah, you know what? I'm going to do somebody else. They're not, you are not that one.
That's shot in us.
So you're going to be Mekayim the mitzvah with your Yetzer Hara, okay? Using the idea of building yourself. You're allowed to have a feeling, and it's not a problem. You're not allowed to go out in the streets if you don't have to. But if you see something, no problem. Do something. And that's the thing. See something? Do something. Don't let the thought stay there. Don't let the, just be makatza. Just be makatza. Be makatza. So I told you, be makatza with a mitzvah. Say to yourself, Rebbeinu Shalom, I love you. He can't handle that. What mitzvah? Rebbeinu Shalom, I love. Look what you've done for me. I might have said it, but I need to repeat it to myself. Okay. Now I can't invite. I want to finish this up, and then you can say your vote. It says, "Ela im yala aliboy ruach lachshem b'isad des haram yekatze machshavtoi behem v'yeshana lachshem b'darkei HaTorah." And this is where he gives that point. Hello, Eli. This is for you. You said this is what Eli said. And you start thinking in Torah concepts. You know what's going to happen? You're going to blow him away. This is what's going to blow him. You're going to blow your Yetzer Hara away when you keep on, every time it comes.
This little concept, something simple that you could just play.
Easy. I love it.
You have certain thoughts.
Right? Beautiful.
Very good.
It says, "V'yishane," like that's why you came to the shiur today. You heard, you came for the right one.
You don't even know in the galaxy.
Okay, in a second, okay. "V'yishane lachshe b'darkei HaTorah ha'amitim." You should know, allow yourself in your head to start thinking in Torah ways that are truthful. That's the ultimate truth. Forget about what you see. You watch all those things flying in the air. It's just those things that are flying in the air. I want you to know it looks real, but they're guided from Hashem. And if they land in a mosque, then it's very interesting. Or land on a hospital which has got 1,000 beds, and it lands on the place that was emptied. That emptied ward the day before, or the fact that it landed in a place in Bnei Barak where the guy the guy fell asleep and he didn't open the key, and he didn't open, so everybody had to go to a different place. It was a direct hit on a place where the guy didn't open up because the guy was sleeping, and everybody goes to that one inside the building. In Bnei Barak, it was. Read about it.
What was that?
There was a murder, and every one of those stories. Don't look at the buildings that fell and everything else. How many people died? Who were those people? Do you know there were clerics who were killed? There were Arab family that was killed, wiped out totally. A whole Arab, or the Ukrainian people that I don't know if they're from it or they're Jewish even. They came. Because anybody from Ukraine was able to come. But we're not going to go into too much. Bottom line is we don't know who Hashem had in that. But don't look at that. Look at Hashem. Torah. What is the Torah way of looking at a situation? Don't let yourself get the media. Trump decided he's going to blow. It wasn't Trump who decided. Hashem said, now it's time for the end for Mashiach. Do you know that when you daven Shachris this morning?
You know what I saw?
It might be the last
Can I tell you
Shachris
something funny?
before Mashiach.
Probably propaganda.
I'm telling you right now, we are so close to this man of Mashiach. You don't think that way. But you never thought about that way. But you don't understand it. We're so close that it might have been just been. If you knew it was your last Shachris, how would you have davened it? Would it be different the way how you did daven it this morning? This morning you davened Shachris. And I thought to myself, maybe it's my last Shachris before Mashiach.
That'd be incredible.
I know it's incredible, but how did you daven it? Lamaisa.
It's okay.
Yeah, could it be better? Yeah, and if your Mashiach would have come.
Next time and try to do
Because it might be, because it just might be. It just might be, okay? It just might be. We are so close.
Every day is if you could have died that night.
Okay, yeah, but that's one thing. But you're watching those things going on, and everything's going on, Trump doing this, and the country is all against him. And it doesn't make sense. But the problem is, and the answer is very simple, he's not in control. He's a puppet right now. Once he became the president of America, as a Moshe Feinstein, I didn't say this. And Moshe Feinstein says voting for the president is not really very, very, very important. Voting for the local people is very important, but the president isn't important. You know why? He didn't know that something like Biden could exist. But the reason is because his heart is totally beyond Hashem. And the problem with Biden was he didn't have a heart.
It wasn't real.
He wasn't a heart.
Right.
It was five of them.
Previous presidents wanted to pay.
That's right.
They didn't.
Nixon, although was an anti-Semite, sent during the Yom Kippur War. He was the one who was basically sent all the tanks that they needed, and against the advice of Kissinger, against his own. That's the way. Leiv Malachim Yad Hashem. Trump is doing things right now against his whole base. His base does not want wars. His whole story is, I don't want more wars. And he's doing something which is connected his base. Now we're saying it with Trump. Nothing to do with Trump. Hashem. Get your mind to realize Hashem runs the world. And if you would really believe it, you wouldn't care too much to read the news. It's good to know what's going on, but it's not as important to know that you have no control of what's going on. And you know what? It's just nice to know, and feel bad to know. And you should know we were in a Mokum Sakana now than we ever were, much bigger than we were on the first day.
Nothing to lose.
And that's it.
They're going to throw everything they have.
Do you know what? Oh, it's 9:30?
No, it's 1:23 now.
Okay. 1:30. So now let's get to the. I'm not even started reading, but it's getting the point. When we got there, we got most of it. Kamei Kain, Shlei Kain, the same idea that I talk about. Legabe Avodah Zarah, thinking that just mekatzem achshavtoi, and let yourself think in Daka Torah, in the ways of Torah, which is a Victor Miller's pshat in this concept. Think about Torah, and you're gonna break him. You're gonna break it. He's not gonna. Every time you keep him, throw another mitzvah at him, he gets very nervous. Okay, so this says you got to break him. A person should be careful of his eyes. It's not appropriate. Anything which you're just doing for pleasure without godliness in it is unhealthy. And he uses the word ukadai. He says because it ends up negative. It's going to end up bad. If you allow yourself just to, you know what, let's do this because it looks nice and doesn't have any godliness to it. Not that you have any good thoughts about why you want it to be looking nice and just you want it nice. It's not good. And yeah, I would give a shmuz on this, but he says, it's a lot of anger, a lot of bizayon is disgrace. It's disgraceful for us to think that way in pleasuring ourselves and pampering ourselves in pleasures only. It's a very hard life to live if you live it.
The divorce rate is going up.
I have a very good answer to that question, but it's going up as much as it's going up. But not even finished the Sheish HaMitzvah. And that's, I don't want to get to there. This is, where's it come from? Nigla. If you do this properly, you will save yourself from ever sinning in your whole life on all Averos. This is all about control of your thoughts.
Helps. I'm just saying for mental illness.
You sure?
People keep on thinking.
Yeah, that's right. You can't say there's the concept.
It's a little at a time, and we have to learn it.
And he says these words.
I'm thinking about the same thing. You should know. For a few weeks now, something big happened in my life. It's not healthy, and this helped me.
Look. The mitzvah is be'emes yisoid gadol badas.
Right.
It's a yisoid gadol. Don't kid yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not. When you came here today, you came was min hashemayim.
Yeah.
Because it says ki machshavos harois avois hatuma. Now he says that he should know the tumah of bad thoughts is the avi avois hatuma. Well, listen to what he says. That's what I go. V'hamaseyem, and what you're doing afterwards because of the thoughts is called yaldeyem. It's called children. He says it's just called children. It's not like now. Watch this. Now he's going to talk about abortion.
Right.
This is what he says. Killing the thought is like an abortion. It has no children anymore, and that's what you do. That's all you have to do. And if you kill that man, terem yolid before he's born, you do that abortion, ain't zeichel abonim, then you won't have any children. What's going on over here? He's telling you a brilliant, insightful way how to think. Okay? It's unbelievable. You couldn't make this up. It's so poetic. It's poetic. No? It's much brilliant.
After Mincha, what was going on? But you helped me a lot.
Okay, well, Mamash, you see how Hashem gives us the opportunity to learn, and it helps you in private life. Did you not get something out of this? Did you not get something out of this?
It's very, very good. What's the mitzvah though?
The mitzvah is that you shouldn't let your mind wander and do avodah zarah. Okay, we'll stop at this point because the stomach is still. Oh, and you've got to learn how to be makatzah, machshava, and really, in reality, by thinking of good things, especially mitzvahs, darkei HaTorah, you will create a barrier to break away this whole problem, and it's going to be a very, very good way how to serve Hashem b'shnei yitzarecha, with your two yitzah.